Hello everyone. So this is going to be maybe a controversial video, but I thought I would show it off because some people might find it interesting. I'm going to show this Cursor IDE today, which is, it allows you to have a AI agent alongside your IDE. And you can either use it in a way where you ask it to help you and it will check your code and see what you can improve and things like that. But some people have been using it to do a thing called vibe coding, which is just you feed prompts into the AI, it generates the code, and you just keep prompting it to improve it to get it to where you want to do. So I'm going to show that type you can do in Unreal. The downsides of it is it does get confused sometimes, and it will create code that doesn't work and it doesn't really understand 100%. So don't use this for like huge projects where you type in that you want a full multiplayer FPS game that is perfectly optimized, because it won't do that. But for smaller things like helping you with your code or giving you ideas on how you could do things, or like removing some of the tedium from C++ coding, this can help. So on the pricing, the hobby one is free and it comes with a 2-week trial, which is what I'm trying out. You don't need to actually pay anything. You just sign in and then you'll get your 2-week pro trial. I'm not sponsored or anything. I just saw this online and thought I'll try it and show it off. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new project in Unreal. So let's launch the editor. And we're going to make a new project, and it's going to be, we'll just use the first person character and we'll just call this AI example. It needs to be a C++ because it can't do blueprints. Some AI can, but they're not that good yet. So C++ is your best bet. So I'm just going to pause while this generates. So now we're in the editor and we're just using the first person example. So what we can do now is we can close the Rider and we can close the Unreal. And we can open Cursor. So now we have it open. We want to open a project. So I've gone to my project folder. I'm going to open AI example and I'm just going to press select the folder like this. So up the top right is the AI itself. So we have options we can go into. We have you can change the way it will open up the AI, how you do the commands, which models you want to use, any rules. So this is for things like if you want it to not do certain things. So you don't want it to use certain things in Unreal, like get all actors of class or get all actors of class with tag. You can tell it to not use that in anything it writes. You can also feed it documents on your code base and it will learn from that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to say, can you understand this project? So what it's going to do now is it's going to check the project files and it's going to learn from them, right? So now it roughly knows what we're doing. So we're going to say to it, create a actor component that can be accessed with blueprints. This actor actor component should have a function called shoot object, which when called will launch an object forward with physics from the player's camera. So let's do that. So what it's doing now is it's creating the header file for the C++. So as we can see, it's set it so it's blueprint spawnable component. It's assigned these functions to it. So not functions, sorry, variables. So we have an actor we can select. We have how forceful a shoot is going to be and how far it's going to spawn in front. So once it's done this, it will tell you here. So object to shoot, the class of the actor to spawn and shoot force, example. And then what it's done is in the C++ file is it's created a shoot object function, and it's going to go through and it's added log files, which is the one way you can tell when someone's written code with it likes to use UE logs a lot. It likes to put in these a lot. So don't think you can get away with just writing code like this and like sending it in for your assignments to school or whatever, because it's very easy to tell because it likes to use UE logs and it likes to do the comments. But let's just go with this. So what we can do is the bottom here, we have accept file. We can click that, review the next file and accept file. So now it's basically, we've accepted these and we're going to put them into our project. So the next thing we need to do is build the project, because this can build the project for you, but I've had issues with it where it doesn't work correctly. So I have to use VS Code. So I'm going to do that. So in my project files, I'm going to open the AI example and let it load up. So now I have this open. I'm just going to right click here under games at my project and click build. And let's see if it builds first time without problems. So we've built the project now. So we should be able to, my thing is broken. That's not good. There we go. We should now be able to open this, our project, and we should see. So if we look here, it tells us how to use the component. So we need to add it to our character blueprint. We need to set the property of the actor we want to shoot, adjust the force and spawn, and then call the shoot object. The first thing, we're going to create a blueprint actor. We're going to call it cube. And we're just going to add a cube like this. And we're going to find the first person character. Open the blueprint folder and then add our shoot custom event. So we can click on it here and we need to assign the object we just created. So BP underscore cube. Let's just leave these as default and see what it does. So left mouse button. We're going to pull the shoot and we're going to say shoot object. So let's see what happens if we do this. So it's spawned it in front of us with no physics at all. So we can either do that ourselves or we can tell the AI. The object the object spawned in but without physics. So now it's going to go through again because we've complained to it that it is spawning the object as we've requested, but it's not doing it with the physics. So we're going to close the project, and so it's now telling us what it's done. So it's changed these, and we're going to accept the file. We're just going to blindly accept, and then we're going to build again. And let's see if this has changed anything. So we've built, it's succeeded. We're then going to go back in and open the project again. There we go. And now we're back in. And we're just going to press play and left click. So there we go. So now it's done what we asked it. It spawned the cube when we left click. Like so. So as you can see that it did that. So let's try modifying and see if it can deal with this. So once this works, what I want to happen now is after 3 seconds of the cube being spawned in, the cubes should begin to float upwards into the sky. So we want the cubes to spawn in, and then after a certain amount of time, we want them to float away. And let's see if it can do this. So it's generating the code now. So I'm just going to pause until it's completed. So it says it's done it. We're going to accept the files. And then we're going to close Unreal and rebuild and see what happens. So it says it's rebuilt, and we are going to reopen the project and see what happens. So we spawn the cube, and nothing is happening. So let's see if there's anything it wants us to change. So float force, float delay. So we launch the cube. And nothing is happening. What if we launch it in the air? So nothing is happening. So nothing happens to the spawned cube after 3 seconds. So let's see if it does anything, or I think what is happening is it's just because we're spawning the cube and it's not actually communicating with the cube in any sense, but we'll see. Let's see what it does. So it says it's done it. Accept file and close Unreal, rebuild. So now we have an error. So it's, oh, this error is because Unreal hadn't fully finished closing. If you ever see an error that says live coding, it's because Unreal hasn't closed. So it compiled. Let's go back and try it again. Let's see what happens now. We launch the cube. And the cube does nothing still. Or maybe it does. Let's see. What if we do a higher number and we set a second? Let's see what happens here now. Oh, there we go. Whee! So it was the float force that was the issue. There we go. So it has done what we asked. It was just the float force was too low. So now they're floating off into space. Let's try 2000. Let's see. We do that, and then there we go. So that one didn't spawn. Did it work? So some of them aren't working, for example. So this is where you would need to debug the code to see what's going on and why not all of them are actually doing it. Or it could be because of the angle these are at. Or is it because they're colliding with others? Like when you spawn two out, yeah. The first one isn't doing it. But you can see that it does work, but you really need to like talk it through well, and it's not good for large amounts of things. Because if I now say, let's add, let's say, when the shoot button is held down, I want to fire a object every X seconds. I should be able to select how many seconds between shots. Let's see if it works. So it's going to add a delay and then add the functions to start and stop the continuous shooting. So we'll see what it does. We're going to close the project. So it said that it's created it. We're going to accept the files and then we're going to build the project. So we should have two new functions now called continuous shooting and stop continuous shooting. So let's open the project. So let's open the project. So now we're in the project, we can go into first person character where we have shoot. So instead of shoot object, we should have continuous shooting now. So we can enable that and then stop continuous shooting. And if we go to shoot, we should have options, time between shots. So let's see what happens. So I'm holding the button down and we're continuously shooting our boxes that are floating away. What if we say every 0.1? We're going to spawn these cubes. We're just chunking these cubes out. So I've noticed that the last cube we shoot is the one that floats. So let's say this works. I have noticed the last cube I shoot is the one that floats away. I wanted every cube to do that. So let's see if this works. But for now, the time between shots does work. So let's say 0.4. We can shoot. Like that. And let's see if it can fix the issue with the flying. So let's see. It says it has fixed it. We'll save. We will close the project and rebuild. So let's rebuild. We've rebuilt. We're going to reopen the project and we'll see what it's done. So here we are back in the project and we're going to see. So let's shoot a couple. So there was one. Shoot two. There we go. They're all floating away now. So we have settings. So what we've done is we've told the AI we want a component that will shoot an object. And once the objects have spawned in, they're going to wait a certain amount of time and then they're going to start floating, which it's done. So if we do, say, 500 and time between shots is going to be 0.1, so really quick. So if we shoot these out, they don't really float much, but if we do 1,000 and then we launch them, there we go, then they start floating away. Curious if we say 0.5, what happens now? We launch them out, they just immediately start floating like they're in low gravity. And they just start floating away. So I'm curious just to see FPS with all these cubes just floating away. And then what we could do is the cube, we make it smaller. And we do, I think it's 800. So there we go. We have some cubes that float away now like they're low gravity. For example, if I launch them here. It's a cool effect. I think it would be better if this was like 0.1, like very low. Yeah, so they would, like they're in low gravity. Well, there's a very, very small bit of gravity in them. Quite a cool effect. But yeah, this is how you can use Cursor with Unreal. Like I say, I wouldn't recommend just sitting down and thinking you're going to make your full game with this. It's useful for learning, like if you want to understand how things are done. Like I say, it's very easy to see that the code is AI written because of all the logs. I suppose you could say, make this code look less AI written. Written, can't even spell. Less comments and remove all UE underscore log events. Also refactor it to be more performant. Let's see what it does to this. So we've told it to remove all the UE logs, get rid of the comments, and refactor it so it's more performant. So we'll see what this does to it. But for learning purposes, I think it's quite good. Like, we've made a shooting thing that we can have automatic, that has some, that turns the objects into low gravity with different settings. But it's very good, I would say, prototyping, to get something quick that you can show and be like, this is what we want roughly. Useful for designers, I think, like level designers or artists that don't know programming and want to do something, like they're better able writing than anything else. I don't think it's going to replace anybody, so no one needs to worry about that. Let's go close Unreal. Let's accept these changes, and then we're going to build. So what we've told it is to remove all the UE logs, remove the comments. You don't need that many comments. Refactor it so it's a lot more performant. It's built. So let's see if it still all works. We can see here, remove the comments and the UE logs, made it more optimized. So we've got rid of vector calculations, simplified checks, removed if statements. Let's see what it's done. So we can shoot. We still have all our shooting. Should have probably done a check like before I did this, but there we go. We've done zero coding ourselves. We've just prompted this AI to roughly create what we wanted, and it's done it. Once it's done it, we've told it to refactor, which it's done. So I hope you found this useful. If you like my other stuff, which I'll be doing more of, the Blueprint tutorials, leave a comment. I have a Patreon if you want to support me. I have a Buy Me a Coffee as well. And if you're curious about the code that this AI has written, I'll also be putting this project on GitHub so you can see it. That'll be linked below. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.